you go.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Are we recording now?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. So this is the presentation on the DeVero new plan of care changes that are coming up. Just so you guys are aware, midnight of next Monday, the conversion happens while we're all sleeping. So when you wake up on Tuesday morning, January 9th, and you go out to do a start of care, the entire DeVero plan of care has changed. What we're gonna do, because of the massive changes that are happening, is we're gonna do it by transition. So any patient who currently is open and has an existing care plan, we're gonna leave them on the old care plan. It won't work, the functionality won't work that I'm gonna be showing you on the old care plans. But every new stock and recert, we're gonna convert the patients over, okay? You can convert other people over if you want to, but you don't have to. We'll just keep them on the old non-changing care plan and do the sub orders and do it that way. And hopefully over a period of like 30 to 60 days, we'll have converted most of our patients over to the new system. The new changes essentially are in line with the new conditions of participation. And so basically, as I said earlier, the patient rights section went from like 1 paragraph to 5 pages. It's just crazy what Medicare has changed and really driven in. And so one of the things they've talked about is the goals for home health. The patient has to be in agreement, there has to be patient-driven goals, and then obviously the outcomes of what happens with the patient have to be measured. We've been doing that with OASIS, but now with the care plans, they're basically saying they want to see that you're designing a plan for the patient with an expected outcome, and you're doing whatever interventions you need to get to that. The therapists are much better at this, I think, because of the measurement and the way you write your short-term and long-term goals already. On the nursing side, we tend to have currently on like the start of care, page 19 and 20, we check a lot of boxes, we can create that 485, but then we never really go back to that. It doesn't drive our care plan necessarily. We don't really see it. It's kind of out of sight. This new way, it's going to be in your face every time you see a visit. So it'll be kind of nice from that perspective that you'll see, oh yeah, I had this intervention planned or this goal planned, and see what your progress is. So I'll show you what that looks like. So the other thing that the DeVero has done is the record's going to be kept up to date every time you do a visit. This is what Stephen was talking about. We can't have late notes, because every note completed by any clinician is going to be feeding into this ongoing live care plans that's real time anytime you look at it. So you'll see new interventions that were created or goals that have been met and are no longer active. So any one of us, whether the office staff or yourself, can go in and look at the plan of care, and it's got everything you need right there. You don't have to go looking at additional sub orders and try to find any last minute frequency changes or wound care orders. It'll always be active and current, so that's kind of nice. Next, click whenever I need to say, oh, there's a nice animation. Try not to get sick. So she made this little depiction. I thought she did a nice job. So the plan of care here in the center, being the living document, will be updated by these 4 things around. So anytime you write an MD order, it's going to auto-populate over and update the plan of care. Anytime we do an OASIS assessment, the interventions and goals and outcomes will update. Anytime you touch the medication record, you add a med, you delete a med, you change a dose, it's going to update the plan of care directly from the med profile. And your notes, so every time you do a visit and you make some changes to the goals, or you say, I met this goal, the teaching's complete, it will go in and update the plan of care and say that goal's been met. So it's kind of a nice depiction here. Next. And then she was having fun with her little drawing. So this is just Nursing 101 for those of you who are a few years from nursing school. And I say Nursing 101, but Therapy 101, all of us. This idea that When you meet your patient, you establish what is it that we hope to accomplish with this patient. That's our goal. Then we set up the interventions to make that happen, and then hopefully we have this smiley face outcome. Okay, next. So one of the things we did want to talk about is how many interventions and goals are appropriate and how many are too many. Now that we're going to be in this live kind of plan of care where when you say, I want to do these 5 interventions for the patient, the next person that's the same discipline for you, so if you're a physical therapist and you have a PTA coming out, or an RN and you have an LVN coming out, or you're doing it for yourself, Lexi, you set up a speech intervention care plan, the next time you go out to see the patient and you open up your visit note, in the intervention sections, when you click on it, all your care plan will be there. You can just click which interventions you want to do that day. So that's really nice, but it won't be nice if there's 75 interventions there, right? So we don't want you to be click happy on here. There's a lot of opportunity to pick a lot of interventions. Between Stephen, Christy, Inga, myself, Armindo, we got some feedback from a couple of the nurses, Jordan and JP and Jennifer. We created some behavioral health interventions that'll be specific for them. There's nursing specific interventions, there's therapy specific, that kind of thing. So there's a lot. We really looked at what was already there in existence, what you guys had on your Oasis, and we created a lot of interventions. We don't mean for you to use every single one of them on every single patient. And I'll show you what that looks like. But what we're trying to say here is maybe less is more. You can always add more. So let's say at the start of care, you decide these are the kind of things you're going to work at, and then 3 visits in, you realize that this patient actually needs a lot more education on diabetes or glucometer or something. You can always add that in at that point. So don't think at the start of care as you're going through, oh, respiratory, I guess I should do something in respiratory. Oh, neuro, I guess I should do something in neuro. Like we do right now on page 19 and 20, right? You feel like you're going through, and a reasonable, prudent clinician in this situation must assess here, here, here. And if you were to convert right now your page 19 and 20 into a care plan, you'd probably have 10 to 15 interventions because you've been clicking a lot. So we're just warning you a little bit to be cautious. We definitely want it to meet what your patient needs. I'm not saying have one intervention to make your life easy. We got to take care of our patients. But I'm also letting you know, if any of you ever worked for a company that used home care, home base? So home care, home base had a similar thing when we brought it up at Sutter, and the nurses got really click happy, and we started having these 15-page care plans because they didn't realize they were just clicking everything. Well, that sounds good. Well, yeah, I probably should teach about, pulmonary hygiene or whatever it is, and they just started clicking everything. So I'm just starting you guys right off the bat by saying my premise here is we want these to be workable care plans. Don't make them monsters that you'll never get through, okay? So here's there was you have to tell Inga how much you appreciated her animations when you see her next. So here's an example that came out of the actual DebTraining training. So one of the things that we promised you, there's 6 or 7 hours of training on DebTraining on these care plan modules. And we thought we can do this in 30 minutes or less. So we pulled some content there. You guys are welcome to go. Any of you on the main page of DebTraining at the top, there's these 3 lines. If you click on it, there's a training section in there. If you go to that, there's all sorts of training on these new care plans and the DebTraining functionality that you're welcome to watch. The one that was done on December 4th, and I think I sent it to you, is the one that was specifically designed for the clinicians. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to tell you guys about, so you have to move out of the way because I have to read this, is the way you get to the care plan. So when you're in the patient's chart, and you're used to kind of seeing this page, I think, there's this thing now that will be on January 9th, you'll see it, it's called Plan of Care Module, and that's how you get to it. And the Plan of Care module has all these different sections. And so it feels a little overwhelming to think, I gotta go in and create a care plan with all of these buttons, right? But if you look at these, the majority of these are things that you were already completing on your Starter Care Oasis to auto-populate the 485. So things like, and I'll show you some examples, I'll go into DeVero, but things like advanced directives, when you click on that, the only two choices in there are DNR or DNI. So if your patient doesn't have any, you're not going to be clicking anything. Things like prognosis, it's the same things as excellent, good, fair, poor, same things you've been checking. So not all of these boxes, when you click on them, is like a care plan where you have to have a goal and intervention. A lot of these are just to get the 485 auto-populated. The ones that we're going to be focusing on today, which is setting up your care plan, are interventions and goals. Okay, go ahead. So the way you're going to get to these when you're at a start of care is, and Stephen, I don't know, let me have this please. What I did yesterday to make this easier to read. So this is like your 45, your Oasis, right? And when you're in here and you're trying to complete it, you're going to see these red hyperlinks. So the word that's underlined in red, if you click on it, there's a gray box underneath. This box is completed for example purposes, but in the beginning, if you're just completing an Oasis, the gray box here is going to be blank. So you're going to click on Advanced Directives. It's going to bring up the template library for you, and you're going to click what you want, and then it's going to auto-populate right in there. Same with DME supplies, rehab potential, eligibility. We'll talk about that. Here's the interventions. So, escape and go to the next slide, Stephen. Woo! Okay. So, again, examples of how to access. So we just kind of pulled some screenshots out. So here's an example where the intervention, the boxes are blank, right? And so you click on it, and then what happens is when you click on it, you're going to get this insert from template. And when you do that, the template will come up. So next slide. She was having fun. So this is an example of a template that'll come up. Can you drag the, yeah, see if we can make that bigger for them. Whoops. Well, that's kind of sideways, but there you go. So once you say bring up the template, this is an example, like say of respiratory. You're going to see a bunch of goals that are listed here. You decide which one you want to pick. Again, here's where I say less is more. So just because these all look good, don't click them all. You don't have to. You can if this is a patient you're really going to be focusing a lot on. But let's say you decide you want this one, patient will have clear lung sounds by. When you click on that, it will come up. You see how it's got this blank? It will come up and you can actually add to it and edit it. So certainly you can put a date on there, or you can put weeks on there, kind of like the duration for recertification. You can also say, none of these really work for me, so I'm going to take this one and I'm going to edit it. And I'm going to say patient will have clear lung sounds and will demonstrate productive coughing or something. So just because we've created these templates, you're not stuck on these, okay? So at any time you can pick one and just, a box like this will come up and you can change it, okay? So hopefully that makes it feel a little bit less structured for you. Okay.
Sorry, real quick, Deb.
Yeah.
Have you guys tested this on the on iPads by any chance?
No, in fact, Inga called DeVero and she said, can we have like a test version of this, or a sandbox or a playground, so to speak, where we can go in and, you know, do a Mickey Mouse patient or something like that. And they said you can't do that without purchasing a whole nother version of it where you have your real model and your fake model, right? Now, yesterday, I had two patients. I had two clinicians in the audience who also work part-time for Gentiva, which is Kindred, which is a big, huge, lots of money kind of company, right? They did this. So they've been testing it, and I didn't ask about the iPads, but they're on iPads. But they did say that there were some challenges with especially having a huge care plan, and that possibly if you're in a page and it gets overwhelmed and it shuts down on you, you lose everything you did. We're hoping that's a Kindred platform issue, but what I told them and what I'll tell you guys is, especially in the beginning as we're learning and you're not sure how to navigate and you're on one page and you decide to hit the back button, don't assume it auto saves. Let's just save. Whatever you're doing, just save. You can always go back and edit it or delete it, but it will be frustrating for you if you're trying to set up this whole care plan and then you get a call or the patient asks you a question and you navigate out of there and you lost your whole care plan. So just, you know, be obsessive about the saves right now until we figure this out. So can you again make that bigger so we can talk about this? So if you don't like any of the goals at all and you don't want to even start with one and edit it, there will always be a line here that says add a new row, and you can just start from scratch. So maybe you're one of those people who right now currently has some template library that you already use all the time and you copy and paste it. You can still going to be able to do that, right? So you just add a line and you can put your goal or intervention in and not use the ones that we have in our library. So there's a lot of flexibility here for you to create your own care plan. Don't feel, you know, tied in here. The other thing that's really nice is there is a start and effective date, so you can see that this one was started on 7/17, but this one was added on November. You're going to be able to see the progress to goals. So if you are really trying to work out 5 visits to get this education done, you can say 20%, 40%, 60%, depending on how the patient's going. So anyone who comes to see your patient can see, wow, we haven't even started on this goal yet, or it's 80%, we're probably almost done, we can probably finish this goal up at this visit. Once the goal is completed, there'll be a met or discontinued date here. And again, all of this will be historically saved on this plan of care. So when you pull up the 45, you can see, oh, I see at the beginning we were working on this, those were all met, and now we have this new problem we're working on. So it's going to be nice from that perspective that you'll be able to see it. If you ever meet a goal and you say, I don't need to work on this anymore, and then 3 weeks later the patient has an exacerbation or a new skin breakdown and you need to open it back up, you can always do that as well, and you just reopen the goal and start working on it again. So obviously it's going to be new for all of us. We're all going to be guinea pigs when this opens up because none of us have used it, but this is what they're telling us. The other piece is all we've seen in all the demonstrations is their examples on DeVero standard forms. We use MedPass. So we haven't even seen what the MedPass forms are going to look like. But I assume it's going to be the same idea where there's those red hyperlinks that you're going to click on. But again, we're going to have to do this together. Hopefully Inga will be healthy and back. She's going to be your guys' point person because she's been buried in this stuff for the last couple weeks on the phone with DeVero almost every day. And she'll continue to do that. So if you guys are there stuck in a care plan, you can call Inga and she can help you. So once you like the goals, you're going to say insert to the form. So the next slide I think will show you that. And then if you can do the same blow up so it looks bigger. We stole these out of DeVero's training, so they're tiny. So this will be what it looks like once you've gone through and you said, okay, I want 2 goals in respiratory, I want 1 goal in cardiovascular, I want 1 goal or a couple goals in musculoskeletal. So you get to see the big picture before you actually insert it all into your care plan. So you might be able to look at this and go, oh shoot, I completely forgot integumentary, or, and I'm sorry therapist that I'm doing nursing focus, but visualized therapy kind of stuff here as well. But as long as this looks good and that's what you want, then you're going to push the insert to form button. So allergies are now going to be on the med profile. So you'll see here there's a allergy button. Now it's already there and you guys are probably pushing the add button. But you'll see there's a hyperlink. When you click on allergies, a template comes up and I can show you what that looks like, but we've already put some of the common allergies in there and you can just click them and it'll go to your med profile. So just an example where the hyperlinks aren't just in your OASIS, sometimes the hyperlinks are going to be in the med profile. Any patient that you have on the old care plan, on January 9th, when you have one of these forms, the hyperlinks are not going to work on the old care plans, right? Because there's nothing to go link to. So you can still use these forms. You'll just use it the way you always did until all your care plans are converted over, and then the hyperlinks will work. But on the new patients where you set up the care plans, the hyperlinks will work. So if any of you have ever worked at an agency that transitioned from paper to electronic health record, where sometimes you had half your patients still on the paper record and half of them still on the or on the new system, we're going to go through a period of time where when you see a patient, you're going to be like, is this a patient that's on the old system or is this a patient on the new system, until we get it going. So, okay, next. You can also add from the orders, so this is just another example. So we're currently using these physician orders, and here there's a order drop-down box that we're probably not using now, but in the future you can go into here, and so let's say you click interventions. In the intervention section, we've got templates for wound vac, we've got templates for wound care, we've got templates for the therapist as well, so that you can go in and auto-populate. Your orders are already written. So one nice thing is once you guys get through figuring out how to navigate, we think it's going to be a lot less typing for you. You're going to do a lot of go in, find the words you like, insert it, and you're going to be done, or maybe add a date. And if you don't like the interventions that are there and you find you're writing a lot, just let us know. We asked you guys for feedback before this came out, but it's kind of hard to give feedback on a product you haven't used yet. But we imagine throughout the month of January, as you guys are going through this, you might start coming up with ideas. You know, like, I really wish when I click on this button, what I'm looking for is this statement and it's not there. Can we just add it to the library? We have control over that library. I can change it on the phone with you. We don't have to send it off to DeVero and say we'd like a change to this form like we've done in the past. Now we can do it right away. I probably won't do it on the phone with you. I'll probably send it out to everybody, make sure everybody's okay with that. But I do think ultimately once we get going on this, you guys are going to feel like this goes faster. So in the beginning it's going to be a little bit longer. I don't know why the screen gets dark.
I've noticed that too.
So this is just an example of what will happen if you click on the order section. So the other nice thing is the date the order received and the time you received it will auto-populate into the line. So at any time you can say, when did we get that order? Oh, we got the order on 9/12 at 10 o'clock. So as you're looking at lists of orders, which one's the current one, which one's the most recent one, the dates will always be right in the interventions. And so if you're in your visit note, so let's say, like we said, for example, the start of care is done, you're out to see the patient on the second or third visit. You're going to still be using your same regular visit note, but now and you still have the assessment section at the top that you do, but now at the bottom, where you used to handwrite in a lot of typing of what you found and the interventions you did, you're going to click on interventions, those ones you picked on the care plan that say do wound care or exercises or assess this or what, you can click it and say you did it that day. So basically it just comes over, if you click it and it shows up here, that means you did it. If you don't click it and you leave it over on the care plan, then you didn't address it today. So you're hopefully going to be finding too that your documentation is quicker, because you can just click what intervention you did right off the care plan. You're still going to have some white boxes that you can add to. So the gray boxes always represent an auto population from the template. The white boxes are still going to be freestyle. So you're going to be using the freestyle boxes on the old care plan patients until they go away. And you should be using the gray boxes on all the new care plan patients, okay? Is that what was on the bottom? Can you go back? I just don't remember what was on the bottom. Oh, can you make that bigger? So that's just an example. So if you clicked on the intervention box and you click these two interventions, it auto-populates your note that you assessed their knowledge and you provided education. So you don't have to type it. So it's just going right into your box. So this as well will be an example of the goals. So every visit note, there's an intervention section, then at the bottom there's a goals section. So this is where you can go in, you pick whatever goal you worked on. So maybe this day you worked on the goal for the wound will show evidence of decreased drainage, and you say we've gotten to 40%. You can type whatever you want here, the status. This is where the narrative could be. I made it 40% because it's shrunk in size, or blah blah blah. And then next time anybody looks at that goal, they can see your last status of what you thought the goal was. So, okay. And then again, insert to form, it'll go right on your nursing note or your therapy note. Sorry, Deb, stop saying nursing. Okay.
So Deb, whenever you insert the form, do you update?
It's not, this example, it's not highlighted. I don't know. I think update means if you went in and you changed the goal itself, so you're updating the goal. But insert to form is the act of saying I'm ready for it to go to my note.
Gotcha.
So I think they're the two different processes. But again, we're all going to learn together. So resumption and research will follow the same process, right? So start of cares and research, we don't have to worry about resumptions. They can stay on the static care plan. So I promised you guys this was coming. So the other really nice thing about this care plan being an ongoing updated document is from now on, once this goes into play, when you do your discharge, you don't have to write that narrative summary of during the course of time that we took care of this patient, here's all the things we worked on and here's what we met, right? Because the module's doing that for you. It's showing when the goals were completed, what goals you worked on, what goals you added. So now when we need a discharge summary, anybody in the office can say, I need the most recent plan of care. It will show everything that happened for that patient in that time period. So you guys won't have to write the narrative summaries anymore, so that's kind of nice. I think that's it.
So can we still add into it though?
Hmm?
Can we still add into it?
Yes, and so there'll always be those white boxes that are free form that you guys can put whatever you feel. And I would definitely suggest in the beginning that you continue to put something in the free form areas, because remember, we don't want 100% of our patients to just have all the check boxes, or we could start looking like we haven't individualized the care plan. So you want to make sure the patient's story is pretty clear in the note. So any additional stuff that's just not captured on the template or the assessment section you want to include. I'd like to just show them really quickly what the DeVero looks like. So Are you in DeVero at the moment? Can you escape this? I'll go into DeVero.
So the 11 training modules I viewed, is that for the new one or the current one?
The current one.
This
I
would be
think.
fun.
Yeah. But it's still, there's a lot that say the same tie, so I think you'll be okay. But I need this too. So what we currently have in here that I can see that I'm getting ready to show you, you guys will not see. Because I'm a super admin, I have kind of like the entire library. But what you guys will see is when you sign in as a RN, you're only going to see RN kind of stuff. When you sign in as a PT, you're only going to see PT kind of stuff. MSW, you're only going to see MSW. Jordan, you're going to see both nursing and behavioral. Well, all the nurses will see the behavioral stuff. But I just want to show you, like we talked about. So if you click on safety measures, that was one of the hyperlinks. These are the same kinds of things we used to have for the 485. You're just going to be going in and clicking it to fill in the 485. Allergies, we've put some of the common ones in here. So again, we can add to this. This is a library that we've created. If we want you to see it, we've made it active. If you don't want to see it, we've made it inactive so it won't show up. But and prognosis, I'm just showing you some of the easy ones. This is the one, excellent, fair, good. But the ones we just were talking about are the goals and interventions. So if we look at the goals, you'll see over here that there's ST short-term goals. Let's see if I can move this out of my way. Get out. Okay. Yeah. So ST short-term goals, SN respiratory goals, SN neuro goals. By the way, I put your behavioral in here under neuro, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
So the ego, anxiety, psychosis, it's quite entertaining for me to learn new stuff while I was putting that in. Integumentary. Now, if you want to look at what these look like we made a, I think there's a wound vac one in here. Can you see it?
I think you have to go up more. First one.
Whoops. I don't see it, but oh, these are goals, not interventions. So anyway, if you see a goal and you don't like it, I can go in and modify it so we can change whatever words are in here based on what you guys want. So you just have to let us know. You won't see all of this though, like I said. When you go in, you're only going to see stuff for your discipline. And we did put them in order. We're hoping they show up in a logical order for you. But there's tons here. This is why I said don't go overboard. But again, you won't see everybody else's. And then on the interventions, similarly, you'll see MSW interventions, OT treatment goals, PT, you guys won't all have that. There is some rehospitalization. I just want to show on nursing the wound back. So if you guys are writing a wound order, it's going to look like this. So it's already there. All you guys have to do is put in the numbers. So we're hoping that some of your documenting will be faster because you can use the templates. The only other thing I do want to point out to you guys is the eligibility section. This is something that's brand new for you, and I'm sorry I have to do this to you. But as you guys know, we have to have a face-to-face certification from the doctor, right? We've talked about this before. We had 5 claims denied, and 4 of the claims were denied because we didn't have the correct face-to-face. So we went through a lot of steps this summer to make sure that the 45 had that statement on the bottom, but you guys didn't have to do anything with that. Intake was able to auto-populate it. Now, on January 9th, with this new functionality, that functionality that we created with DeVera to make sure we were compliant to our face-to-face encounter is going away, and they've added it this way. And so you'll see there's some certification statements in here that we're used to. You're used to it being already on your 45, you're gonna have to add it. You're gonna have to add these homebound sentences. You'll see the category, if the patient's homebound or not. And again, this is for the starter care clinicians or the research clinicians, not the visit by visit. But the face-to-face, I just want to show you. So this statement has been on the bottom of your 45 all along. But what is going to be key is I need you guys to fill in the date. And I'm hoping to fix that with DeVera, make sure you guys don't have to do this. But for right now, this will be a hard stop. So if you try to shut your Oasis and send it into the office, a box will pop up and say you didn't do your face-to-face statement, okay? So the way you find that date, I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. Who's a patient that's in pre-admit? Somebody doing an admission later today?
Jimenez?
Jimenez. Carla?
Mm-hmm.
So, for every new patient, intake is expected to do this form called the face-to-face encounter form. So when you click on this, there should be a date in this box. If it's blank, your obligation is done. I don't expect you guys to have to go looking for that. I'm going to be tracking this, but the date needs, whatever date is in this box is what you're going to fill in. So for you, like say for example, Jordan, if you were doing it today and you get out there, this box is blank, you would leave that other thing that I just showed you blank because you had no date to go to. Some of the nurses our clinicians have told me that they go looking through the referral paperwork just to make sure they have a face-to-face encounter, see what the doctor saw at the last time, and they will put a date in there. I don't want you to do that because I want to have whatever document that intake has as the official eligibility document, that date to be the same as what we put on the 45. And I'm worried that you guys might find something, think that's the right date, and it might be different. So if the date's not here, you're off the hook. If the date's here, I need you to put that date over on there, okay? So we'll work through that. It should be there. My Stockton example yesterday, it was there, so you gave me a bad patient name, Jordan, but it's not your fault.
Sorry, Deb, so you said that we'll probably have to wait to put it in? Because you said we won't be able to put in the Oasis, right?
So it's a good question, Ben, is I think, I shouldn't tell you this, you always catch me on this, but you guys will have to test this out. But I believe that if you click on this and insert it just the way it is, the system might be fooled into thinking you did do what it was supposed to do because it won't know the box is blank. But I need you guys to, so I do need you to send it in that way because we don't want you guys holding it till intake gives you the date. We need to keep the Oasis flowing in. So your job is to click that box, get it onto the 45. But I'm asking you before you do that to put the date in to save the office staff from doing that. We won't be able to bill without that date. But we can do it in the office. So any of the ones you forget, especially in the beginning, or the ones you don't have a date on. But if you don't even click this box and say insert it, I think that's when you'll get the warning.
So
It's a good
you
question.
want us to just click that first box or do any of the other ones?
So the first box, you'll see the category. This is the face-to-face box. This other one I made inactive, you won't even see it. Then the other ones in here, like I estimate duration of continued home health services to be, you're only going to have to do that at research. That's that estimated duration at research. We haven't quite, we'll have to figure this out as you get a research. But I'm gonna make this one as well. I can say there's certain template items that are mandatory hard stops that they can't close their Oasis without it. The only ones I've done so far are the face-to-face and this estimated duration at research. But certainly homebound status are all these other ones, and you're gonna need something in the homebound section. But I made them a warning because you don't need to use them all. You just wanna pick the one that fits for your patient. But whoever has the first start of care on January 9th is probably gonna be the teacher for all of us. Because we can't tell you exactly how it's gonna work because they wouldn't let us play with it. So I can only tell you what we think the functionality is gonna be, but whoever's out there the first time trying to do this, I imagine we're either gonna get a bunch of empty 45s because we forgot some boxes, or you guys are gonna be calling us going, I can't close the darn thing and I don't know why. But we'll get through it. Stephen will help you because I'm going to the Caribbean, so I'm not going to be here for all this chaos. But
What can we find out?
Might need two of those. So when you
hold on, I have a question here, Lexi first, and then I'll get to you. She quietly asked a question. You guys didn't hear it. Interestingly enough, there are home health aid interventions in the template library, but it doesn't create a specific separate home health aid care plan. What it does is it populates the doctor's orders. So you're still gonna need something about home health aid frequency to go to the doctor, right? We always have to say, I need a home health aid for personal care for 2 week 5 or whatever it is. But we asked them, is this also going to create the new home health aid care plan? And they said, no, you still have to create a home health aid care plan the same old way. So the home health aid care plan, and I think the home health aid notes will look the same, I think. We aren't 100% sure until we see them, but Lexi, your question?
You said that some of them will be a warning. Is that just when you go to validate?
I believe so. Basically, because we created this library, they basically said, for any one of these things that we put in there, if you think it's an absolute mandatory item, you can do one of two things. You can put a warning so that they will at least be alerted, oh shoot, I didn't finish something. Or you can make it a hard stop where you're unable to complete your Oasis and send it in without going to it. And it'll tell you. It's separate from the validate button. It's literally like when you say sign and send to office, it's going to pop up at that point. We think. Again, it's a guess. But I didn't make too many hard stops because I didn't want to frustrate you guys. But on the other hand, if we get a bunch of empty Oases, I might go back in and at least put some warnings in on the areas that we're all seeming to miss. And I can always remove the warnings after we get through with it too. So just let me know, or Stephen, since I'll be in the Caribbean. Did I say that before?
I'll call you and let you know.
Okay. So yeah.
So two good things with this change here. For nursing, your plan of care will be 3 pages shorter. Because the last 3 pages, well, probably 2 to 3 pages shorter.
Before you promise that, we've been looking at their standard forms. We haven't seen the MedPass form yet. It looks like it's going to be shorter because all the stuff that was on page 19 and 20 are not. It's going to be a hyperlink now. But I'm just a little tiny bit nervous that you guys are going to open it up and say, you promised us 3 pages, we're gone, and it might still be there. So Stephen promised you, not me.
I was going off what you said.
I know.
And state has not even begun to be trained on this yet, so they will be coming in and looking for all this stuff right away. They have to be trained first.
But the one thing I just want to go back to, and then I'll finish the presentation, we got to talk about our patients, so I know it's a long day, is, you know how I said that the care plans get fed by your med profile, by your nursing notes, by the Oasis, by the physician orders? That's real time, that's live. But guess what? If it's in pending, it doesn't come through. So the next person coming out isn't going to see that on the care plan. The the need to keep our documentation current has never been stronger because this care plan depends on all the notes coming in and feeding the care plan and being up to date. You want to be able to trust that when you go out, you've got the latest and greatest orders or latest and greatest progress to goal. What I'm worried about is nurse A says, I met this goal, remove the intervention, we're done. Nurse B goes out, but that note hasn't come in yet. They do the same, they continue to do the care because they didn't know it got deleted or completed, okay? So that's why the naughty list has come back out because we just cannot afford to have late notes. So come to us if you're having a problem getting your notes done, but we are going to be having to really be obsessive about this. So, okay, I'm done with the training. Sean, can you turn, before you sit down, can you turn the recording off if it isn't off already?
Wait a minute,